the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, oftentimes they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
Okay, so what he said in public regarding the Attorney General and whatnot is much different than what came out in that Comey memo. And by the way, the news from the New York Times is the reporter who wrote that big story never actually saw the memo. He was simply read it over the phone. Meanwhile, yesterday...
He actually told that to Brian Williams, and Brian Williams was a little aghast. Like, really? You never even saw it until someone read it to you? He said, yeah, I had an idea that he wrote everything down, so I kept pursuing this angle. And this is the same reporter that during the San Bernardino terrorist attack said these terrorists were overheard talking about jihad. It turns out that was totally not true, and he was reprimanded by the New York Times saying, you guys got to set up some type of criteria before you run with these stories.
So you got to be aware of that. Meanwhile, the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, briefed the entire Senate yesterday behind closed doors, and the senators came out one at a time and revealed some things. For instance, apparently he said that Donald Trump, he knew that Donald Trump was going to fire Mr. Comey before that memo came out. What's interesting, though, is Senator Mark Warner, who is tops on the Intel Committee, he said Rosenstein, for the most part, did not answer specifics on virtually any question asked. They're tight-lipped to protect the FBI investigation. Meanwhile, you've got Dianne Feinstein from out in California. When it comes to the ultimate question is, was there collusion between Russia and the Trump people? And that's what this is all about. And they've been investigating this for months. And you know what? So far, they don't have any evidence of that. Listen.
The last time we spoke, Senator, I asked you if you had actually seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, and you said to me, and I'm quoting you now, you said, not at this time. Has anything changed since we spoke last?
Well, no, it hasn't. So I would depend on this investigation that we're talking about that would bring forward any criminal activity.
So far, you've not seen any evidence of collusion, is that right?
Well, evidence that would establish that there's collusion. There are all kinds of rumors around. There are newspaper stories, but that's not necessarily evidence.
Talk in the bathroom, and some people did it. Yeah, I also saw a flyer on the street. Yeah, just rumors and newspaper stories. The newspaper came in and had a story in it. You know, that's exactly who you want running this investigation.
That book Shattered, which came out a couple of weeks ago, that detailed the loss of Hillary Clinton. In that book, the authors talk about how the day after Hillary Clinton lost, what they were going to do. They all got together in a room and said, okay, now what are we going to do? You know what? Let's push this Russia thing. There's nothing to it, but let's go ahead and push it because we've gotten some traction in the press and with the rumors, which she's talking about, so let's push that.
That is exactly what Victor Davis Hanson was saying last night on Tucker. He is a military historian. He's a political commentator. Listen.
I don't want to be too dramatic. It's sort of historically a slow motion coup where you have a nexus of celebrities, academics, the Democratic and progressive parties, and then you have the media, and they feel that they can delegitimize a president with 1,000 nicks, none of them insignificant in themselves, but they coalesce to build a narrative that Trump is inexperienced, that he's uncouth, that he's crude, that he's reckless, and each day the point is to drive his popularity down half a point, one point until he can't function in Congress because purple state congressional representatives don't want to take the risk to further his initiatives. And meanwhile, at the ACA, the tax reform, his appointments, everybody agrees they've been excellent. So there's Trump, the message and the agenda, versus Trump, the demonized president.